President Trump's visit to Georgia comes at a time when polls have shown the president could lose the state to Democrat Joe Biden. 11 Alive's Doug Richards has been looking at the issues and the voting trends.
With protests roiling Georgia's cities and suburbs, and with a pandemic threatening lives and an economic downturn threatening incomes, the 2020 presidential election is giving Georgia voters almost too much to consider as they weigh whether President Trump should get another term.
We know President Trump is going to win Georgia.
Cobb Republican Chairman Jason Shepard says swing voters see the president as the good guy in a time where he says extremists are driving protests.
Black Lives Matter as a movement is very important to talk about. Of course, as a Republican, the movement is very different from the organization, which basically spouts Marxist ideology.
Democrats say BLM is a biracial grassroots movement which, like the pandemic, they say the president is unable to grasp.
As thousands poured into the streets to march for Black lives, Trump has called us thugs, gassed peaceful protesters, and sicked the U.S. military on American citizens.
Yet in Georgia, from the governor down, Republicans hold every elected statewide office. Republicans have been winning Georgia's presidential electoral votes for 56 years, starting with Barry Goldwater in 1964. Georgia Democrat Jimmy Carter broke the streak twice, but since 1984, only Bill Clinton has interrupted it, barely in 1992. Even Republicans Bob Dole and Mitt Romney easily took Georgia. But Donald Trump barely broke 50% when he won Georgia in 2016, and polls have shown Trump tied at best with Democrat Joe Biden this year. President Trump's visit to Georgia signals less than his advertising purchase in the state last month, indicating his need to keep Georgia in the GOP's column in 2020.
We know that Donald Trump's incompetence, his failure to care, is going to be on display from now through November.
2020 is going to be Donald Trump's year in Georgia.
How President Trump fares in Georgia can also trickle down to other contests, from 2 contested U.S. Senate races to a couple of contested congressional races to the Georgia House of Representatives in this most unusual of election years.